I'm Jason Klom, and this is the Comedy on Vinyl podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, hi, I'm Jason Klom. This is the Comedy on Vinyl podcast. This is a live stream, and a regular podcast episode will come out later today of this. So if you're hearing this, this was a live stream. You can check us out, youtube.com/comedyonvinyl, if that's how you're hearing it. So what we're going to do is an unconventional episode today. I am figuring it out as I go. I think I've got the levels ready for it. But what we're going to do is, number one, we're going to do a little bit of a listening party, which I've done before. But I think I'm going to listen to it in more detail. And so we're going to listen to this. Get Gay with Gallez. This is Wheeler Gallez. She was a nightclub comic. There's not a lot of information out there about her, not much at all. One of the sad things I discovered recently in looking, and I bought this just because I actually really like it. I think it's a great photo, and I like comedians I've never heard of. Don't talk about women comedians on the show enough. But one of the saddest things when I started, trying to figure out who she was, is that her obituary didn't even mention this work. Now, maybe it wasn't, the most critical thing to her at the end of her life, but usually performers really would like that kind of thing noted. She's got clip-on earrings. I just noticed that. That's a clip-on earring you can see right there. Obviously, if you know me, you know my penchant for trying to understand a little bit more about obscure comedians. So I'm going to do some more digging on her. She's on Duo Records, which Woody Woodbury was on these at the time. He's on the back there. Woody Woodbury, Bill Carty Blasts Off. I have that one as well. There's a few other things in here that are maybe a little more strictly music, obviously, because it was, if I'm not mistaken, a jazz label duo. I don't know what the legality is of playing this. I do not think the rights to this exist. I think this is probably a relatively rights-free recording. I'm hoping so. I could be wrong. I don't think it's going to get flagged by YouTube. I am going to include what I play in the episode. So maybe we'll do track by track. Maybe we'll just do a full side. I don't know. If we do, then you're going to be watching me listening to a record on the live stream, but at least on the podcast, you'll get a chunk of an album. I haven't put any clips in it. Ooh, knocks the thing over. I haven't put any clips in anything in a while because it is much harder to do that. Just given how many podcasts and how much other stuff I've got to do. But what I am going to do in between stuff is I'm going to be going through some of my record inserts, because I keep those separately usually, with the exception of these two that I just got recently and talked about, the Bathtubs Over Broadway and Grease 2. I'll probably take those out too. I like to keep the inserts separate for whatever reason. Leaves a little more room on the shelf, but also I just don't want that stuff to get messed up. And sometimes, if you dig and you don't think to look, there are probably records in here that have inserts that I've never looked at before. That's one of the fun things about collecting records, for me anyway, is finding posters or mail-aways. Actually, now that I say that, I'm fairly certain at least one or two of my National Lampoons at least should have mail-away things in them. If they don't, then I've definitely seen them, because I know National Lampoon did that, but I don't know if I have them or not. But I like to dig for that kind of stuff. When you get little bonuses that, just add to the appreciation of the record, add to the appreciation of the whole experience, that's kind of a lot of fun. So what I'm going to do now is, while I get that stuff out, I've got it out, but while I kind of dig through and go over my thoughts about them, we're going to listen to at least part of side one with Get Gay with Gallez by Wheeler Gallez. I did, listen to a little bit of it. This is nightclub comedy. This is what you can fully expect. So right now, we're going to listen to that. You're not going to hear me for a bit. Maybe that's a bonus for you, but here we go.
First of all, I'd like to welcome you here to the Marie Antoinette. I'm Wheeler Gallez. I want you to understand that a lot of entertainers, they tell cheap jokes about sex, you know, to get a cheap laugh. I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, that is not my act, and I'm very much against that sort of thing. But I do think we should keep it in mind from time to time. Particularly now. I've been reading, and this is serious, where the test, the atomic test that we're having, the fallout is going to completely annihilate sex, so let's get in under the wire. I've even started a new movement, and I'm so excited about it. Aren't you excited when you start a new movement? Oh, heaven. We have a slogan. Our slogan is help stamp out artificial insemination. Is anybody celebrating anything tonight? Anybody expecting to celebrate anything? Anybody worried? I asked that for a specific reason, you know, because I'm always trying to think up ways to goose up my income. And last September, I made up a whole batch of maternity wedding gowns, and I urged the girls to get them before Labor Day. I don't know whether you've heard about that or not. It was a nice little promotion. Well, let's all have a drink first before I get into this 9,000-word dissertation. This is the way we lost the farm. Up your hatch. I mean, I talk about drinking a lot, but I'm not an alcoholic. I know that, because alcoholics don't like to drink, and I do. It isn't even so much the taste of it, it's just something to do while I'm getting drunk. And I can get drunk, too, you know. Now, a lot of people won't tell these things on themselves, but I don't mind telling you. I got so drunk the other night, I got a $500 parking ticket. I was parked on top of a bus. And I don't drive. I'm going to play the piano for you, I think. I wish I had some sexy lights for this. Wouldn't make me look any better. It would make you look a lot better to me. I know that we all have a sentimental streak, and in fact, mine's a yard wide. Do you girls have that trouble? I got on the scales the other day, and according to that chart, I should be 7 feet tall. I don't understand it. I even drink skim whiskey for fat drinkers. I don't know what kind of songs you like. So I am going to sing the greatest love song in the world, not because I'm going to sing it naturally, because I'm not a great singer. To be a great singer, you must suffer. You, not me. Here's the story of two lovers who were hand and glover lovers, who made history when you and I were young. He was Cecil, she was Cecil, they just downright loved to nestle, and now it's time their story should be sung. Cecil and Cecil sailed over on a vessel, and they stayed right in their cabin all alone. How they loved with such precision, they'd been great on television. They used holes of gorgeous George's never known. Remember him? He's at wrestling with the Marcel hair, dropped these bobby pins all over. Oh, pardon me. The story of two lovers, hand and glover lovers. They sailed by that famous day at Scapa Flow. When the captain yelled avast loud, good old Cecil whipped the mast out and wig-wag back and answer apropos. Isn't that beautiful? Some people like Stardust. Cecil and Cecil decided they would lease a little place out in the woods away from folks. But their life was far from bitter. All night long you'd hear them titter, say they must have known an awful lot of jokes. It's funny. It's pretty funny, huh? The story of two lovers, hand and glover lovers. In the country life moves at a slower pace. Far out there it is lonely. There is one thing to do only, and it started to show up in Cecil's face. If you're gonna laugh, you better do it now, because here comes the sad part. If this doesn't tear the thumping gizzard out of you, you just don't have any heart. Cecil and Cecil were snuggling on a trestle when a train came at 'em like a ball of fire. when they took them from the trestle, part of Cecil was with Cecil. Now Cecil sings soprano in the choir. The story of two lovers, hand and glover lovers. Cecil went to meet her heavenly host. But there's Elderpay up yonder, from the rule she's prone to wonder. It's been rumored she's been had from ghost to ghost. But what of our friend Cecil, who was altered by a diesel? No longer can he woo a lady fair. Not for long was his forbearance, for his new love's name, who is it? Yes. Oh, I guess we'd better end our story there.
All right, well, there we go. So in the middle of that, you heard me introduce this as a live stream. In the middle of it, it got flagged by YouTube as a copyright violation. Now, I don't know for what specifically. It could be that, but I do think that's hilarious that it's probably fine. Who knows? It's probably okay. So if that was what flagged it, then great. But also, I do not. So that live stream didn't get saved anywhere. Basically, nothing happened to it. So that's fun. So this is going to be just a regular old episode of the Comedy on Vinyl podcast. So that is the beginning of Get Gay with Gallez. May listen to a bit more of it. Not sure. But I wanted to go through some of the things that I've dug up here. I would love to dig through more of my albums, but that's not really going to be possible. It would take the entire day for me to do. But these two of my favorite things that I have are to one of my favorite albums of all time. We've only discussed it once or twice. I can't remember. But the Ruddles. The Ruddles soundtrack. It's just so good. I love fake bands. I love fake history. But this is one of the first ones with such detailed history and photos, album covers, and such great music. This music is brilliant, and without Neil Innes, our culture would be much worse, in much worse shape. At least in terms of comedy and music. By the way, two huge parts of culture. My good God, we're just looking at albums currently available on Ruddle, which, by the way, sorry, is like the Apple Core logo, but it is a peeled banana. Banana looks, maybe that's just me. Anyway, so here's some other ones. Arthur Hodgson and the Kneecaps, Knees Up. It's a bunch of dudes showing their knees. Crosby, Stills, Nash Young, Gifted and Black. That's one of them. The Bigamy Sisters, Nobody Does It Wetter. California Boys by Les Garçons de la Plage. The Punk Floyd with Dirk McQuickley. White Dopes on Punk. What else we have here? I.J. Waxley, Forever Waxley. When You Find the Girl of Your Dreams in the Arms of Some Scotsman from Hull. So there are full covers for these things that are referenced in the show, in the movie. They may actually show them. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've watched it, but I love having them at my disposal. These are things that I would love to have full size, of course. Would never be possible. Well, not to say never. You never know. It's quite possible. But and that's just, by the way, that's just the record sleeve. The record sleeve is that detailed. Then we've got, pardon me, the actual booklet that this came with. On the cover, of course, says All You Need Is Cash. It's got the four boys, and then just so many beautiful production photos from this thing. A Cellar Full of Goys by Leggy Mountbatten. The True Account of the Ruddle Success. That's just a book that's showing here. There's just so many wonderful photos here. This is still in good condition. This is one of the reasons I kept it away once I bought this. Once I realized, because it doesn't always happen. You don't always luck into having the inserts like you hope. What do we have here? Cover for Ouch. I mean, like a full-size cover of A Hard Day's Rut is right here. And now makes me realize I need to buy this again and maybe just tear that out and frame it because I want it to look like an album cover from that world. This is one of my favorite things. All the frames from Cheese and Onions. Good God. I mean, these are the kinds of things that are missing from albums normally, but I do like that we're seeing it more and more and more, where albums, this was just how it was done, but more and more albums are becoming special to people, and especially comedy albums, so I do like that they're including inserts. We're going to look at one now that is an insert for an album that I own and have not yet listened to, so I apologize in advance for that, but again, once I know that there's an insert, I set it aside. This is for Jimmy Thudpucker's Greatest Hits, which is a Gary Trudeau album. That is to say, it is based on a Gary Trudeau character. I do not know his specific involvement. I mean, there's so many music names listed on here, including Donald Duck Dunn playing the bass. Holy cow. There's a lot. There's a lot on here. But this is obviously filled with Doonesbury drawings, the character Jimmy Thudpucker. There's the whole Jimmy Thudpucker story. October 1st, 1977, Hollywood, California. I wonder if he lived here. I don't know if Gary Trudeau ever lived here. When I wrote to him, he lived in New York, and he was kind enough to write me back. Gary Trudeau, I'm obsessed with certain parts of Gary Trudeau's story and history, even though as a kid, I would just not understand an ounce of what was happening in his strips, because I didn't quite understand who he was and what he was. Yeah, there's a full strip, and this mostly what this is. It's a brief insert. It's mostly just a very quick insert with a bunch of his drawings. I'm not going to read through them all right now because it's a comic strip, and who wants to hear me read a comic strip? You want to hear me describe things that you can't see. That's your favorite thing. This is my favorite thing I've ever gotten in a Weird Al record. And this one actually might read out loud entirely. And maybe I've done it before, and if I have, my apologies. But when I got my copy of Weird Al's first record, so let's see, it was released April 1983. So when I got that album, I was shocked. I got it here at Atomic Records in Burbank. When things opened back up, definitely worth going to. I don't know if I noticed. No, I think I did notice it right away. It's one of the reasons I bought it, because I don't know if I was collecting vinyl as much at the time, but I bought his first album on vinyl. And two things were in there that I still need to find a way to frame these. I kind of want one of them to get signed first, but they are an 8x10 of Weird Al going nuts and playing the accordion. Man, did I do that pose? I recently was doing a thing where I had to dress up like Weird Al, and I'm wondering if I did this pose or not. Not dissimilar. I definitely hit myself with the accordion, I will say that. I can talk more about that eventually. But it also comes with just a regular sheet of paper from Rock and Roll Records. And just on the top, it says Weird Al Yankovic. And I am going to read this to you because I want to kill time. But it's interesting because this is, well, you'll see why it's interesting. Because it's from a world that I just do not remember. The history. Weird Al Yankovic is a 23-year-old accordion player, singer, and songwriter from Los Angeles, whose outrageously funny parodies of popular rock and roll tunes have already earned him considerable national attention. With his tongue-piercing through-cheek humor and his accordion in tow, Weird Al is now unleashing his long-awaited debut album on the world at large. Produced by Rick Derringer, the LP features such parodies as Ricky, an homage to the Ricardo family inspired by Tony Basil, Stop Dragging My Car Around, and I Love Rocky Road, along with some truly irreverent Yankovic originals. Try I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead, or Happy Birthday, a cheery song about death, destruction, and the end of the world. A longtime contributor to the nationally syndicated Dr. Demento radio show, Yankovic had his first major success in 1979 with his parody of the Knack's My Sharona, which he retitled My Bologna. Weird Al recorded the tune in the state-of-the-art acoustic tiled bathroom across the hall from the radio station at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, where he hosted a weekly comedy show while working for his architecture degree. My Bologna was released by Capitol Records and subsequently featured on Dementia Royale, Dr. Demento's anthology on Rhino Records. In September 1980, Weird Al performed Another One Rides the Bus, his parody of Queen's Another One Bites the Dust, on Dr. Demento's live Sunday show on KMET in LA, and the immediate audience response was overwhelming. Stations across the country carrying the syndicated version of the Demento radio show reported a similar response. Bus soon became the most requested song in the 10-year history of the Dr. Demento radio show and was added to station playlists nationwide, in response to constant listener phone requests. Since the song did not yet exist on vinyl, stations were lifting it from the Demento Show. TK Records took notice and released Bust in February 1981, and the single charted in both Billboard and Record World. Weird Al soon found himself appearing on such television shows as The Tomorrow Show, Real People, and PM Magazine. Sure, that's my favorite. When asked about the social significance of his music, Weird Al replies, "I think accordion music will change the face of Western civilization forever. Or maybe not. Can I go home now?" The album. Weird Al Yankovic, rock and roll / Scotty Brothers. It says Scott Brothers, not Scotty. Interesting. It's Scotty / CBS, April 1983. Recorded at Cherokee Studios in Hollywood and Santa Monica Sound Recorders. Contains 12 songs, including Another One Rides the Bus, My Bologna, and the LP's first single, Ricky. Weird Al is joined by Rick Derringer and a fine collection of rock and roll musicians on his romps through popular culture. I'd like to know who wrote this. These things are always interesting to me. But yeah, it's just from a world where nobody knew who the hell Weird Al was. And that's fascinating to me. And I love it. Something to think about. Something I don't know. I'd be curious to know if Bermuda has this or not. Bermuda Schwartz, in case you don't know, Weird Al's drummer and also his archivist. And he's got a lot of stuff, a lot of crazy stuff. And he's the guy responsible for when Weird Al re-releases come out, supplying them with the stuff they need. You know what? So what we're going to do right now is, I guess we're going to listen to a little bit more of Get Gay with Gallez. Yes, I'm going to put you through that. It's, it's one of those examples where it's like, there are some hits and misses, mostly misses. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So let's give another little listen. I apologize in advance because what I'm going to have to do is...
I invent things.
That.
You've heard of permanent wet lapels so that floor walkers can keep their gardenias fresh. Did you girls ever have to buy something for somebody who had nothing at all? Mine was a grand success. Perfumed bookmarkers. The idea of this was that if you lost your bookmarker, you could smell along the edges of the pages until you located them. I designed this apartment with wall-to-wall mattress, and it just turned out wonderful. My friends were enjoying this to the hilt. And I said, why should I deprive the rest of the world of this wonderful thing I'd come up with? And I didn't. I put it on the market. If anyone in this room tonight is in the market to purchase a mattress, I do wish you'd purchase mine because it just helps me no end. And remember the trade name, it's Eggs You Want. And I stand behind every mattress I sell. And that's the hard way. It's worse than a hammock when the wind's against you. But, you like that, huh? I like that. Talk to me. Nobody ever does because they don't get a chance. I shut up one time for 5 minutes and they buried me. I had a hell of a time getting out of that box. I will never do it again. I have a lovely number that I'd like to do for you nice people tonight. It's an old Scotch folk song. And I want to do it before I get too far into my cups, because the title of this song is The Brave McForker Clan. I'd like to explain it to you just a little bit before I start it. This clan was very proud of their brave men and pure women, and you know as well as I do that in every barrel of apples there's a bad one. And in this case, it was Guinevere McForker. I'm over the worst part now, you can breathe, if you're worried. In the northern hills of Scotland lived the brave McForker clan, and their pride was Guinevere, who turned the head of every man. Yes, she turned the head of every man, lured him to her room. Then she quietly refused him just as love came into bloom. Oh, sigh, don't even try to take off your tie. At lads, keep your pants on, and I'll tell you why. Mother always drops in to bid me good night. Since she's not met you formally, she might not think it right. From the southern plains of Scotland came a laddie named O'Milt. He wore a most peculiar costume, which he said was called a kilt. Gwynnie was intrigued by the possibilities of a lad who wore a costume that came above his knees. Milt hang your kilt on the back of the chair. I have a special reason for wanting it there. When Mother drops in to see if things are all right, she'll think that the girlfriend is spending the night. Her word spread through northern Scotland like a brush fire at its peak. There were tailors making kilties by the end of that next week for the story of what happened to the laddie named O'Milt. Changed the Scotch national anthem to God Save the Kilt. But parrots soon discovered that resistance must be built. Now they say goodnight to daughters by first pulling back the quilt. For you see, they're all McForkers and the ruling of the clan won't let them give their love till they wear the wedding band.
Well, that was something. So just for the sake of ease, I don't think we'll be listening to any more of it today. It's just, it is it's a nightclub record. I'm still interested. I'm still interested to know about more about her, and to maybe listen to the rest of it. But that again is Wheela Gallez, Get Gay with Gallez from Duo Records, and something that is protected just enough that YouTube will flag it as a copyright strike of some kind. It's not a strike. I'm fine. That's one of the things that's going on right now is that there are also a lot of false strikes going out there. So who knows? Who knows what actually got flagged? So a little bit back to the inserts collection here. So I was sent a while back the Teen Comedy Party album by David Nuttycombe, who is a to-be guest on this show. He was on my podcast, A Professional Blur, not that long ago. Anytime somebody tells me they do extra work, that's the first thing I nab them for now. Actually would have had a regular episode this week, but unfortunately, even in this work-from-home world where those of us who get to do that are lucky enough to do it, still sometimes schedules get screwed up. So that's why I'm doing this episode today. But inside the Teen Comedy Party album by Travesty Limited, there is a man, and I should ask David if he has any more of these, but there are T-shirts that you can order. Maybe you could, maybe you couldn't, but I'm assuming you really could. I love this. This is How to Laugh, a public service from Travesty Limited. And it's got little instructions. Place comedy record on turntable, cut one, side one. Listen closely. Move lips upward toward ears. Open corners of mouth, forcefully expel air in staccato bursts. Rest for a moment, breathing deeply and wiping tears from eyes. Repeat entire process with each cut on record. Should sound like ha ha ha, ho ho ho, he he he. Should not sound like abba dabba dabba abba dabba. Beginners do not attempt to do both sides in one sitting. Laugh until exhausted. Stop, drink heavily, and begin again tomorrow. It does have a cutaway in the bottom. Hey kids, be the first of your peer group to own an exciting Travesty Limited Teen Comedy Party t-shirt. Your choice of one fabulous color, yellow, with our logos printed in vivid red. A sure crowd pleaser. Send just $7. That's all, and specify size, please. So David, if you're listening, if I send you $7, will I get one of these t-shirts? Because I want one. And you may want to own Travesty Films' videotape of such comedy classics as Intestines from Space, Alcoholics Unanimous, Neurotic Psychotics, and Hyattsville Holiday. 4 award-winning slapstick movies featuring the Langley Punks, an hour of utter foolishness for only $49.99. What a deal. Specify beta or VHS. Beta, please. Please understand. Beta, please. Or if you're too cheap to buy the shirt or tape but still want to imagine yourself part of the in-crowd, send us your name and address. We'll include you in our mailing list. What do you have to lose? So, David, you've got that information probably. This is great. I love these kinds of inserts. It's something to add instead of just an advertisement for buying our stuff. Here's a silly little diagram, a crazy, crazy, crazy little diagram. Love it. Here's some. I was actually, for a second, thought I had one of the sendaways for to be a part of the Knockers Up Club from of Rusty Warren fame. Boy, oh boy. So they were 9 by 12. I do have the envelope, but I don't have the send away. And I do not have an official Knockers Up Club certificate. I do have a reproduction that was kindly sent to me by her archivist. And they're great because who wouldn't want to be a member of the Knockers Up Club? Is it in here? Is it possible that the... No, it's not. So I just have the envelope. I would like to enroll my friends in this distinguished mythical organization. I ask you to send certificates made out to the following names. That is great. So you can have multiple. Enclose 25 cents for each certificate ordered. Damn it, that's so good. I love it. The Knockers Up Club is one of my favorite things that you could ever get. And they're inside all of her records. It was this, I don't know, it's not necessarily super usual for that kind of a thing, especially since Rusty Warren was not getting super national press. People knew who she was. She worked in Vegas. She did very well for herself. But, you know, she was definitely a record comic. She was a comic that a lot of people were hearing on records. So most of the time, the way you made your money was selling your records, not selling additional stuff and not selling something like that is just like this fun memento of not only that I saw this comic, I enjoy this comic, this weird little memento of sexual freedom. And I like that. It's not often you find something like that. Wheel of Gallez does not have anything like that in her record. I checked. This is an insert from one of the PDQ Bach albums. Let's see here. This just lists the music that you're hearing. That's mostly what it is, but with really delightful drawings on it. Oh my goodness. I love these hand-drawn things. Wait. Who's this? Jewel. It looks like Jules Madoff is the name of the person who drew this. A layman's guide to the Sinfonia Concertante, being a list of the principal solo passages. 1. Left-handed sewer flute and ocarina, balalaika, double reed, slide music stand, bagpipes. Holy cow. Sewer flute is really, really getting me. I need to look up this artist. This one is staying out of storage, and I'm going to have to double-check up who that artist is. This is another one. This is from a Burns and Schreiber album. It is just a... is just an 8x10 of Burns and Schreiber that I'm really sad it doesn't have anything else with it. But yeah, it's great. It's the two of them, I'm assuming, doing the taxi driver bit. Very sad. We did lose Jack Burns a few months ago, which makes me very, very sad. He was a delight. Let's see here. Got that. Oh, here we go. Here's a classic one that probably you will be familiar with if you're a big fan of Albert Brooks's albums. I'm a person who knows his albums better than his movies. Please don't at me. This is, of course, from... actually, which one is this one from? Oh, duh. No, this is from A Star Is Bought. This is also an 8x10, a hand-signed... What does it say? I'll look at the cover. Free inside your personally autographed 8x10 glossy. Insert to complete cover. So you can put this on the cover, but I don't want to dent the corner, so why would I do that? I love that. You can put anything in there that you want. This is so good. It's just him shaking someone else's hand, by the way. Hi. Let's see. To single any one of you out individually would be a big mistake. Best wishes, Albert Brooks. It's him sitting at a desk. It's a delight. How do you not like that? Such a smartass. Such a just a meta comedy genius. Great album. And then I've got, you know what, I apologize. This might be from, I cannot remember if this is from Don't Crush That Dwarf, but this is, I have 2 copies of the Firesign poster that is all a bunch of square Instamatic or whatever photos from the Firesign guys. But 2 copies. One is a glossy, and one is on thicker, heavier matte paper. Not sure why that is. Firesign archivist Taylor Jessen, if you're listening, tell me why that is. I'm guessing at one point they went cheaper, or it went the other way around. Oh, hey, we sold a bunch of these. Let's make a nicer one. Don't know how that went, but I'm always curious. All the Firesign albums are worth it, but I do believe that's from Don't Crush That Dwarf. If I'm wrong, again, just look it up. I looked it up, but I couldn't find it. So from Comedy Is Not Pretty, Steve Martin's album, by the way. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm referencing. Yeah, 1979. So there we go. The inside of that album is Steve Martin in a delightful pink 3-piece. I really love this pink 3-piece with a gray silver tie and a gray pocket square, scrunching his neck down and looking very, very awkward with his hand in his pocket. It's like the most awkward looking poster possible, and it's delightful. I wish I had this one hung up. It's a weird, it is a weird dimension. It's like 11 by 20 something, maybe. It's probably 10 by 20 because I think it's a square. Something to that effect. But, yeah, this is a great poster. It's just Steve Martin looking awkward on a really disturbing yellow background. Like, not comforting looking at all. Then in the inside of, there's a Tonight Show compilation. Magic Moments from the Tonight Show. I am not sure of all these things, by the way, Steve Martin was marketed to college kids and teenagers. Same with Firesign, mostly college kids. All of these other things. Why is there a poster in here? This is a poster that has pictures of TVs, and over them are superimposed screenshots, which is to say, I'm pretty sure shots, like camera shots of a television, of Johnny Carson in different positions where he's moving, and it's awkward looking. Magic moments from The Tonight Show, it says. But then in the bottom, it's just a history of The Tonight Show. It says, here's Johnny, the history of The Tonight Show. And that's all it is. Why is this a poster? This is not an exciting poster. It's not particularly nice looking. I don't know who wants this on their wall except for some real dumb nerd. And I mean that in a loving way. But like some nerd for this show who's like, well, of course I have that. That's my Hendrix poster. That's my Holly Golightly poster. Whatever. I love Johnny Carson, so I must have this on my wall to represent my absolute love of Johnny Carson's comedy for some reason. Wouldn't you just want a poster of Johnny Carson if that was your thing? This one is informational. This looks like a terrible museum piece. It looks like it's something that's in an actual museum. It's a very long essay about the history of The Tonight Show, which I will bet doesn't include Ernie Kovacs. Ernie Kovacs, by the way, did briefly host The Tonight Show. It was a very brief period, but he's not included in the history just like Conan usually is. Yeah. The idea is old enough to have kids in high school. Take a college bowl session, old-timers jawing in front of a glowing pot-bellied stove on a snowy Vermont day, an evening of first-class vaudeville, and one of those MGM News shorts where all their big contract stars have lunch together. Add an occasional 5 minutes of commercials, a live audience, and 20 years of adjusting the elements for a perfect fit. It all started in the spring of 1950, a year when it seems everybody went to bed at 9:30. Even the test patterns were off the air by midnight. The television industry knew there were viewers out there, but until NBC's Pat Weaver conceived The Tonight Show, stations were content to run old movies after the network shut down. So yeah, this is just a long-ass history of The Tonight Show. Probably worth reading at some point. Definitely not worth hanging on your wall. This is an outlier of them. These other ones make sense. These other ones are geared towards people who might want something collectible, who might want something to add to their experience. But there's no photos behind the scenes of Johnny and Ed and their guests. There's none of that. The stuff that you might expect you would want to see in a Tonight Show album. So yeah, that's weird. That's a weirder insert. I've never looked at that one up close, and I know I've got other albums here with inserts. Again, Bathtubs Over Broadway and Grease 2 both have some great stuff in them. I'm going to dig through these, and maybe I'll do another episode where I talk about these, because I love these. I love these things. I love collecting. I love the physicality of it. We've talked about that a million times on the podcast. Well, that is really about it. I do thank you very much for joining me this week. I hope it was of some use. You are the only person / people getting this, so I'm talking to you. The individual you. I'm not Albert Brooks. I'm addressing each one of you individually, but just by saying you. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope it was worth listening to. We'll be back with regular episodes as soon as possible. We're trying to get more. It is now, since everybody's going to be by Skype, hopefully easier to get things scheduled. Fingers crossed. Hard to say. And thank you very much also to those of you supporting the show on Patreon, patreon.com/StolenDress. There's a tier for each of my shows. Then there's a tier above all that where you get all the shows. Then there are other tiers that are a bit higher, and you get access to other things. And I give you copies of my movies, my books, and all that stuff. It's relatively cheap. The lowest tier is $3. So I think that's relatively reasonable. Although right now I totally understand if you couldn't. I know I couldn't. It would not be easy for me to support somebody else's show right now. So I totally feel you if you can't do it. It's really only for those people who can do it. But it does help, and helps keep the show going. And we get enough supporters. Eventually we'll have more episodes to put out there. And I love doing this show. It's just gotten difficult, which is why this is only episode 6 of this entire year. It really stresses me out that that's the case, but it's just the way it is. There are going to be some updates coming along, I would imagine, in either a few weeks or a few months. Some more Dick Davey stuff coming out. I will say, if you listen to the Patreon episode, the first Patreon episode is Dick Davey related. It's basically a full, mostly uncut interview with somebody with the son of Dick Davey's agent and our manager. And he's very interesting, and he'll actually probably come back for a regular episode. His name's Arthur Stoyer. It was a really fun episode. So, give that a listen if you can, if you're able to donate. And, got some other shows. The Professional Blur podcast. I'm halfway through season 1 of that show. That is a limited show. A few weeks away from ending Dispatches from Fort Awesome, which is my podcast about news radio, ending a regular run of it. We are going to do other small episodes because people are paying quite a bit to support that show as well. And there's Dan and Jay's Comedy Hour, which I do with my best friend. And we also do a show called Hosts with Their Own Picard about the Picard TV show. Also a semi-limited series, although we are going to be discussing stuff between the seasons of that show. We assume it'll only have 2 seasons, which is why it's a little more palatable to commit to another show. Anyway, that's about it. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, have a good thing. Comedy on Vinyl is a production of StolenDress Entertainment. It is produced by Mike Warden and is hosted and edited by Jason Klom. Our theme song was composed and performed by Richard Levinson. You can email us at podcast@comedyonvinyl.com. You can also send snail mail to StolenDress Entertainment, P.O. Box 805, Burbank, California, 91503. Subscribe to Comedy on Vinyl on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you can find podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating and write us a review. It helps. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Comedy on Vinyl, or find everything in one place at comedyonvinyl.com. A major portion of Comedy on Vinyl has been underwritten by Stand Up Records. Please visit standuprecords.com for all your comedy needs, and tune in to the new Stand Up Records channel available on the Roku, where you can also find select episodes of this podcast. Visit StolenDress.com to listen to our other podcasts, watch videos, and imbibe freely of our multimedia content going back 15 plus years. StolenDress Entertainment.
Hey, it's my turn. Ah!